Hi, I'm here with Dorothy Spence from Purpose-Led Business School. Every time Dorothy comes in, we have amazing conversations about things that are relevant to each of our businesses and the daily events in our life. And when Dorothy came in today, she said that she wanted to talk about something we talk about regularly, which is being in the state of flourishment, being in a state of flow. When you know you're in an environment or a space or a place creatively in your work, in your life, where everything is triggered and aligned in such a way that you can grow.
Perfect.
So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So, I'm just gonna get my hair cut, and I loved the idea, Fred, that you had just to stick a video camera up to capture these amazing conversations that happen in your chair, not just with me, but I'm sure with all of your clients.
Well, it's funny because amazing conversations happen all the time. And even when you think that this is just business as usual, things are just going the way they're supposed to, a little nugget will drop and it will either activate the whole salon, and there will be this group conversation that happens and everyone is contributing in some way, or there's this like quiet, private, personal moment that happens behind the chair, and then a client has this like aha moment where there's been this little mini breakthrough that comes out of just like a normal, organic conversation between two people, and then something unexpected happens, and someone who wasn't expecting to learn something that day, especially when they went in to get a haircut, ends up leaving the hair salon with this realization that they can do something different, they can do something better, that they're capable of achieving more, they're capable of thinking in a slightly different way. And likewise, I have these moments when I'm standing behind the chair where someone's sitting in the chair having a conversation about what's going on in their lives, and I'm like, holy shit, I just learned something really big. So it's like these conversations, if you have the ability to capture the moment on video or document it in some way, I could probably have volumes of books, just the things that I have learned from everyday individuals, some extraordinary, some not, who've sat in this chair and taught me something that I needed to know. And likewise, and probably more comically, the situations that occur when an unexpected first-timer comes into the salon, sits in the chair and thinks that they're getting a haircut, and then they get a whole lot more. Right. And that could be figuring out they need to wear a different bra, realizing they're married to the wrong person, or they're in a relationship that's not going in the way a relationship that's right for them should go in, or just the best places to eat in the neighborhood. There's always something that people have that they take away with them that is more than just the haircut. And I always say the haircut is often just the byproduct of the conversation.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to make sure that I helped you catalyze getting the video going so that you're capturing these really unique conversations. Like, as a woman, I sit in this chair every 6 weeks. I have short hair, so it's straight. I need my Fred fix every 6 weeks. It's part of my self-care. And yet, what I get sitting in this chair is, as you just indicated, is much, much deeper and different. And I think it's cool to capture those moments of transformation. So you and I, for many years, have talked about this notion of flourishing. That's the word that I know is very near and dear to your heart. And I think what you just described when you were talking about the haircut is the byproduct, is what happens in this chair is what I believe is a process of transformation. And in order to transform, in order to flourish, you have to go through some level of transformation. It's what we call the fourth level of consciousness. It's when you're able to look at all the fears that you have. And there's a lot of insecurities that I'm sure Fred come up with clients when they sit in this chair. So first of all, I'm sitting in front of a mirror. Vulnerable, I sit down and I have a big conversation with myself. As soon as I sit down and I look at my clothes and I look at, maybe there's a roll of flesh.
This is a place, this space right here, where when you are seated in front of a mirror and your reflection is staring back at you, we look at mirrors for like seconds at a time. We like walk by the bathroom vanity to make sure we have no spinach in our teeth. We do a quick once over when we're leaving the house at the beginning of the day. Most people don't then look into a mirror again until they're brushing their teeth at night before they go to bed. And so when you're actually seated in a mirror, your hair looks awesome.
Thank you, bye.
When you're seated in front of a mirror for a 45-minute to an hour appointment, you have a whole lot of you looking back at you. And then it sort of puts us in touch with this thing that most people try to avoid looking at. It amazes me the number of people who can't stand looking into a mirror because the reality of what looks back at them is often painful. Like, fortunately, after being in the beauty industry for 33 years, I actually enjoy looking in the mirror. I don't mind what looks back at me because I take care of this thing that looks into the mirror in the first place. And I'm pretty proud to be the age I am and live the life that I've lived, and to be able to look at myself in the mirror and say, do you know what, Fred Connors, you're doing okay. And ultimately I want for every single person who sits in this chair to be able to feel exactly the same thing. When we look into a mirror, we should learn to love what is looking back at us, and if there's something that we just can't love, we should work to change so that looking at our own reflection becomes a pleasurable experience. And so going back to Flourishing, you know, for some people, in order for them to be in a state of flourishment, their reflection is not a significant thing. It doesn't trigger anything. I know for me, my reflection says a lot about me, and it's important. So taking care of this allows me to be in a state of flourishment. The comfort in which I live is very important to me. So my physical space and feeling comfortable, feeling confident in my space, feeling nourished in my space, very important to me for flourishment. My work, collaboration is key. What else is key to me at work? The meaningful relationships with my peers, key. Laughter at work, key. A sense of flow, which is also kind of, when you're in flow, you're also in flourishment. And I love coming to work every day where being at work does not feel like work. When you come to work because you're doing something that you love to do every single day, it is like inviting a friend over to your apartment, over to your comfortable room, into a space in which you're able to flourish, having engaging conversation, and again, the haircut is a byproduct. I never feel like when I'm doing this job that I'm working because I love doing it and it's that thing that I was meant to do. I never wanted to be a hairdresser, but the industry and the craft chose me, and I allowed myself to be to develop the tools and be able to do it, and it's the best decision I ever made in my life. And so flourishment is like understanding the variables you need in your life, in your relationships, in your career. It's holistic, that allows you to be in a state of constant growth, learning, wonder, and amazement, and joy. And for most people, having all of that in one package seems impossible, but when you, as a practice, focus on how do I have wonder in my life every day? How do I have appreciation in my life every day? How do I have joy in my life every day? How do I have love in my life every day? How do I have a feeling of accomplishment in my life every day? How do I have pride in my life every day? How do I, every single day, wake up and be so damn excited about what is yet to happen that I can barely get to work? That's flourishment.
It may be a good idea or not to have this video going, because these haircuts are going to take a lot longer than 45 minutes.
We had some interruptions today, and
this is Joel.
I ended up getting
Fred's
some,
partner. He's awesome.
Some other food.
Okay, so back to what you were saying. All of these conditions that you're talking about with flourishing.
That's what I need. Other people need a whole other set of a whole other environment in which they can flourish.
Okay, so when we, at the Purpose-Led Business School, we do a section on what we call real prosperity. So everything you just described, Fred, is what we talk about when we're talking about a state of inner prosperity. And we actually get people to do their real prosperity balance sheet, where they look at their social capital in their life. These are the relationships they have. This is their reputation that they have in the community. This is the trust that they have built with within their community as being a citizen of the community. So those are all examples of social capital. Then we look at things called pragmatic capital, and that's the skills and the capabilities. Like, you are an incredible stylist, and you're a master at your craft. And then there's things that are called more pragmatic capital. And then there's the more traditional financial capital. So that's your real estate, your assets, your income that you make. And then the inner prosperity is really the amount of love you have in your life, the amount that you give and receive. It's your health, your state of well-being. And we really have our students look at what is their state of inner prosperity as well as these outer prosperity. And I think it's really eye-opening for people to consider how rich they really are. And real prosperity happens when you build prosperity from the inside out, instead of looking at the world of what you're missing and what there's lack of. That the practices that you just mentioned, the flourishing practices, are really the same thing that we also teach at the school. That's gratitude, giving, celebration, and that's what really creates those states of flow.
And I think having a consciousness around everything that happens, having a consciousness of all of your abundance. People don't often feel abundant, and I think that's a big weight on people's shoulder, that they feel they don't have enough of the things that they need the most. But when you do take a careful audit and inventory of what you have a lot of, you realize you are abundant. And abundance is something that's incredibly important to me. I always want more of the things that are most important to me so that I have more to put out there.
Exactly.
If I only have enough, it only benefits me. But if I have more than I need, it is able to benefit those in my sphere. Hey there.
And I find a big conversation that I have with a lot of people is a conversation that is focused in the opposite direction, and it's the not enough. So it's a state of feeling like they're not enough, they don't have enough love, they don't have enough money, they don't have enough possessions, they don't have enough time, they don't have enough energy, they haven't exercised enough, they don't have enough health. And so what I love when you and I have conversations, I know that you're coming from that place of what we call sufficiency. I know that you appreciate so many aspects of your life, and I can feel it. I can feel the inner prosperity, Fred, in every one of our conversations. The amount that you give back to the community is extraordinary. And you know, I just really feel like you embody and live a life that is flourishing.
Thank you. And it's something that I work on all the time. And one of the things that I notice from behind this chair is the vast majority of people who come in think that they have one thing that they need to work on. The only important thing to them is their relationship, or the only important thing to them is their finances, or the only important thing to them is losing weight or exercising more. The only important thing to them is some one singular problem that they need to solve, without realizing actually getting enough sleep is going to help you in your relationships, it's going to help you in your career, it's going to help you in your exercising. Eating well is going to help address all of that. Just changing your attitude from negativity to positivity when you're in the world is going to change the way people, you know, are attracted to you. It's not just how much money you have in the bank that matters. It's not just how much people love you that matters. It's not just how well you're respected that matters. It's not just how nice your clothes are that matters. Like absolutely every single part of our life, everything that we engage in every single day is equally important to our prosperity.
Yeah.
People think that prosperity equals money. Well, it doesn't. Prosperity equals gratitude. It equals love. It equals, it equals appreciation. It equals, I am most prosperous and I'm able to accomplish the most when I get the amount of sleep that I need, when I'm fueled by delicious food, often that my partner Joel makes for me, and when I am in a really great place with all of the people I have relationships with in my life, including my team of people I work with here. I actually have a better day if I randomly pick up the phone and call my mom and tell her I love her. I know it's the one gift that is absolutely free, and it's the thing that she wants the most. And not only am I making her day, but those days when I actually consciously stop and think, I gotta just pick up the phone and call my mom, have a quick conversation, and then finish with, I love you. Her day is made. Ka-ching. And it actually makes my day a little bit better as well, which seems kind of like sappy, and I honestly don't do it a lot. But when I think of it and I stop and do it, my day is better. My day is more abundant. And so abundance can be as simple as that. Just stopping, taking a little bit of time, doing something that you might not do, or sharing something that you don't think is important to you, but might make someone else feel abundant. That is abundance. When I have something that I can share effortlessly with someone and it's going to have a big impact on them, that is actually sharing abundance, and it took zero effort and it didn't deplete me at all.
Right.
So people think that sharing and being abundant means you have to be overflowing with all of these things. No, you just need to have enough of something to share with someone who's going to benefit from it, and then hopefully they share whatever they have enough of with someone else. That's abundance. That's flourishment, and it's flow.
And so when I think about in your previous location and how much you worked with some of the youth in the neighborhood, and you had gifts that you wanted to give to them, and that was really centered around self-esteem and really helping them uncover that inner beauty within them. And that just is, I think, a great example, Fred, of what you're talking about.
And again, it was something that was like very simple. What Joel and I realized when we opened our business on the corner of North and Agricola Street, where we prospered for 12 years, we realized very early we are abundant. We have a lot of space. We have a lot of food. We have a great team. We've got a lot of things that we could share. Why don't we share them with the people who could benefit from them the most? And we just had to look into our community. There is an immediate need or void that could easily be filled. So we shared what we had extra with the people who could use it the most effortlessly. We did not have to do any amazing things to share what we had extra of. We didn't have to make a big deal of it. We didn't have to put a system in place in order to do it. We just had to look at what is it we have a lot of or extra of, and how do we share it in a way that's meaningful. So someone who could benefit from it the most gets that benefit. And I think a lot of people are looking at ways how to be like profound in their sharing of abundance. Do it in whatever way is like easiest, most accessible. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a small thing. Sharing your abundance just means literally looking at what you have extra of and putting it in the world in a meaningful way.
Well, and this comes back to this conversation about philanthropy. So it feels like kind of the traditional formula as business owners that we are told or are conditioned to believe is build a business, build a great business, sell it, and then when you have lots of money someday, then you can start being a philanthropist and give it away. And I just think that leads to a very empty life.
Well, also I think building a conscious mission into your business from the beginning ultimately increases its value should you then decide to sell.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, because that value is intrinsic and it's embodied in the business. But you know, the work that you do with a lot of the youth in the neighborhood and the volunteer activity, to me that's philanthropy. Like you're giving your time, your energy, your
I will
space.
say, since we opened our salon in New York, I have had to figure out how to have that impact in different ways, because the reality is, one thing that I was abundant in a couple of years ago was time. A thing that I am not abundant in right now is time, so I can't share that which I don't have a lot of.
Right.
And I have to have the time that I do have be very meaningful and impactful, and so now I share less of my time in the way I was able to a couple of years ago, so I'm conscious of doing in other ways something that uses abundance that I have in another area. And you don't just need to be abundant in time in order to share. You can be abundant in a lot of things.
Right.
And I know when I have a lot of time, there's a lot of sharing of time. When I don't have a lot of time, I can't share that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Dorothy's getting a blowout, so I'm just going to turn this on while we make a lot of noise. Back in a second. Dorothy's blow with the Dyson Supersonic blow dryer is all done. Easy peasy. Little plug for Dyson. It definitely has like changed the hair blow drying game, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They're such a cool product.
And I have a feeling the next time Dorothy's in for a haircut, we'll probably do another round 2 of video. We might be able to get actually Facebook Live video figured out by then. We tried to do that today, but I didn't know how. So I'll sort that out and do it next time. Ciao.